1-9 is back at practice. 119 is in the starting lineup, and a two-way star is headed back to the bench. It's Martin in Monaco. So I saw a clip right before we pressed record. It was the last thing I watched, Alex. And I have to ask you, as our resident New Yorker, when you eat a taco, do you turn your head sideways like this and have the taco go straight, or do you keep your head straight and turn the taco to fit your head? Essentially, do you dominate your taco, or do you allow your taco to dominate you?
That's pretty fascinating. I'm so locked in on sauce that I'm just thinking about what do I do to make sure, because I go hot sauce every bite. So I guess in theory, a little bit of both, a hybrid.
Okay. A modern man, the hybrid taco eater.
No, I'm not I'm not Travis Hunter over here, but yeah, I mean,
well, we're still waiting. I didn't see my clip was only 30 seconds. Maybe the rest of the internet saw a longer one. I don't know what Cam Scadabo's answer to that question is. However, he did pose it today. So rehab and recovery is going well.
Most definitely.
So Cam is recovering from that shattered ankle, and the Giants now recovering from a shattered season. Head coach gone, fired.
Oh, I know. I know. We're gonna
just 3 years ago.
We're gonna talk about that. Well, I just want to kind of just talk in general with you, just because we're off like one of the most topsy-turvy weeks. Really, it's hard to not start with Buffalo. I mean, this dude, Mediocre McDermott, which I've nicknamed him now, years plural, is just a picture-perfect example of a guy that it's almost NBA-esque. Like, you won a game and it's a back-to-back, and then you're fed on the second. It's like, oh, we beat the Chiefs, so we'll just lose to the Dolphins as 9.5-point road favorites. And then next thing you know, McDaniel's driving around Elbow Room in South Beach trolling Bills fans. I mean, that was one of the greatest, if they thought that was AI or not. But like, so many headlines, so many upsets. Buffalo cannot be trusted, Mark. Any new thought? I know it's a divisional home dog. It's a trap game. I mean, Miami's looked lethargic. You can't tell me firing the GM gave him that big of an uptick.
And honestly, you probably thought firing the GM came at a bad time because, like, Jalen Waddle might be a Bill now, right? But, like, the team that needed to look into firing their GM, and I'm not saying that they should have, it would have been a little bit rash, but I remembered this happened after the draft. Brandon Beane called in to the Bills radio show, wherever, and, like, did his weekly hit. And you know how the weekly hits for, 49 of the 52 weeks out of the year, they're pretty blah. But this week, Brandon Beane was ready. And he was like, we just scored 30 points in a row, 8 times in a row. We scored the most points ever. Why are you guys worried about our wide receiver core? After the trade deadline, you hear they tried to trade for Jalen Waddle. They just signed McCole Hardman and Gabe Davis from different various practice squads along the way. They are shopping at the Salvation Army trying to buy new furniture for that offense. And to tell you what, I'm not sure the offense is the biggest issue on the team.
It's so fascinating because it is a week-to-week league. But I do think there's certain losses that mean more. And I remember it was last season ago because they beat the Chiefs again. And then I think it was like a Allen Stafford all-time dance. And then McDermott blew a timeout. And they were down 2 scores. There was no way for them to mathematically come back because he did the timeout. It was like a situational L. And I just sat there and I go, they need everything to go right to take down Goliath, which is Kansas City. And what they need is home court. And they're going to blow it on these little L's, whether it's Rams on a situational L last year or what should be a gimme. And now we have a school teacher going viral on Good Morning America because she gets to put W in her elementary school's chalkboard instead of L because the Bills can't take care of business against a lower, lethargic, awful Miami team. I mean, It's incomprehensible. I don't even like Buffalo.
It's incomprehensible to you. To you.
Because I'm too emotional?
Like that
Am I
girl
emotional about it? You're saying you're able to look at it a little less emotional?
No, because I've said this. The first game of the year that Baltimore-Buffalo, each of them played each other. I think it was the first week one.
You did.
I was like, that game left a stink in my mouth I cannot shake. And I know that this is not exactly Martin and Monty on Fox Sports Radio on Saturdays, but we try to pick one underdog to win outright every week. And when Carolina played Buffalo, I picked Carolina. My reasoning was simple. Buffalo can't stop the run. Now, they did that game, and Buffalo is the best team ever at when one thing falls apart for the opponent, it just steamrolls. It snowballs. And it's just an avalanche of just Josh Allen left, Josh Allen right, James Cook up the middle. Before you look up, it's 21-0, or it's 21-7, or it's 21-3, right? And it's just they go on runs in games like that, like the Warriors did out of half with Steph and KD, where you're just waiting for them to go on a 15-0 run, right? They just don't do it as frequently. But the thing about the Bills is, man, down in, down out, possession in, possession out. If they're not generating a lot of explosives, they're not good enough defensively. If they can't stop the run, Devon Achane, I just looked it up, 8 yards a carry, bro. You give up 8 yards a carry, that's money.
Yeah. I had to get that off my chest. What stuck out to you? I mean, there's so much. I want to get Ian's thoughts, too, on the Jets finding a way to win against Cleveland. There's a lot from Week 10.
I'd say what sticks out to me right now, you just mentioned it, is Cleveland. And partly because if you look at – this is going to go down as one of the best Cleveland rookie draft classes in a long time. Like, Judkins is a player. Schlesinger is a player. Mason Graham looks good next to Myles Garrett. You know what I'm saying? And they drafted 2 quarterbacks, one of whom I know can't play, and the other one I am becoming increasingly convinced more and more by the minute that he can't play either, because why wouldn't they be playing him?
Okay, now you got to tell me which one is which. Which one
I know that Gabriel can't play. I'm watching him play, and I know that he can't.
Because I am a Shedeur backer. I'm going down with Shedeur if he is going to swing and miss. I am irate at the 5'10" man making everyone look bad again.
So that's my thing. But that's my thing, and this is the thing that I always try to stick with, and I always try to remember. Like, you're not there. You're not in the locker room. You're not at practice. All you can do is go off what you're hearing, right? Go off, read the reports, listen to the press conferences. There's nothing in any of these press conferences like, yeah, Shedeur's really crushing it on the practice squad. Like, there's nothing like, yeah, we really got to get this guy going. We really got to get, or like, even like the little sneak disses that you hear about the starter when somebody wants the backup in. There's nothing there. There's nothing.
Okay, but let me ask you, is there still some noise? I don't want to say like LeVar-esque with, obviously some people annoyed with him. And Dion, I feel, did a better job staying out of the way. But just the whole noise of Shedeur through the draft process, you think that's still lingering in the decision-making to give him some shine?
It can't be.
Feel free to hop in, Ian, because the Jets just beat the Browns. I mean, they should be experimenting everything at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think trading Joe Flacco is looking like a bigger and bigger mistake, not only because it's kept the Bengals in things until Burrow's return, which we'll also get to later in the show here.
Which is outrageous. It's an outrageous sentence in and of itself. Flacco, what were you, 7 when Flacco was still in the league? I mean, that should be a footnote. Cleveland cannot get out of their own way. I'm so bothered by this. And does Stefanski have immunity because he won a Coach of the Year, maybe 2? I forgot. I mean, come on, dude.
So
they're
Ian
not beating anybody.
Ian, you go, and I actually do have a theory.
No, go ahead. What's your theory?
Like, we always view as because we're fans of this, that the team is trying their best to win at all times. The Cleveland Browns cannot be. They simply cannot be. And I'm not saying that it's some grand conspiracy to, like, tank jobs or, like, they're trying to hold Shedeur down or anything like that. I just think they are so underwater at the quarterback position. I think that they are literally, like, Joe Flacco would have won them too many games. They have to try
hilarious.
to get premier talent in the draft, and then they're so over-leveraged. I think that the only way out is to get guys like Mason Graham, and then 2 years from now, maybe trade him to get some more cost control. Like, you know what I'm saying? Well, as your books come clean, then you can fill in with some more rookies.
Can I just make an observation? That is a city with the AL Manager of the Year, the NBA Coach of the effing year, and they are bottling this infrastructure of the Cleveland Browns as if this is a town that doesn't care about sports. It is incomprehensible when you're in a Cleveland Cavalier, Cleveland Guardian, fundamentally sound infrastructure. I mean, Cavs have rebuilt twice around LeBron, leaving, coming back, leaving, coming back. Guardians play some of the best small ball without a huge payroll in the league, many a years, many a times. And this Browns team is a laughing stock. Andrew Berry should have been fired 9 times by now.
Andrew Berry should have been fired for sure, because Kevin Stefanski, who gets a ton of the blame for this, right or wrong, Andrew Berry's the one who constructs the roster, and Kevin Stefanski has won multiple Coach of the Year awards, and who usually wins Coach of the Year is the guy who's able to string together some wins with a bad roster. The point is you overachieve with a roster that wasn't expected to go anywhere. He's done that twice now. Who's responsible for constructing the roster? That's the GM, not the coach. So you could argue that Kevin Stefanski's doing everything he's supposed to do and more, and Andrew Berry is just making his life as difficult as possible, like doing something like drafting Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round when Stefanski already had his guy in the 3rd round. Didn't mean to cut you off.
I need to know if Martin's theory comes to fruition here, because there's something going on. This is unacceptable.
Like, it doesn't just all of the processes. None of it. Like, there's no way that one person is making all these decisions because they all contradict one another. You draft 2 rookie quarterbacks. What? And then you don't even, you don't want – Dylan Gabriel's the worst starter in the league. Like, he's the worst starter in the league. And I know Justin Fields is starting in New York, but Dylan Gabriel right now is the worst starter in the league. And every week it's just like, we're committed to getting better. Like, there's no thought at all of giving Shedeur, reps outside of when it's going to be his time to get reps, if it ever is going to be his time to get reps, which is, to me, is like the veterans on the team would be saying something by now if there was a guy who was out there who was better than the guy who they got.
Didn't you think, to put a button on it, didn't you think Myles Garrett had a little rapport with Shedeur? They were vibing during training camp and preseason. I thought he was a Shedeur backer. And Myles Garrett's like the least happy rich man in the whole wide world right now. This guy is miserable, sack after sack. It's unbelievable.
He says he's miserable, but he gets 17 guaranteed games and a guaranteed vacation after that. And all that money is also guaranteed. Like, Myles Garrett never has to worry about where he's going to be on Martin Luther King Day weekend. He can book that to go anywhere in the world. We just talked about drafting quarterbacks and all of this and that. We all saw – this is the best thing about the draft to me is we get to see the behind-the-scenes, some of it. And we all saw Joe Schoen say, well, Brian, if you really think so, if you really think that Jackson Dart's the guy, if you think so, we'll take him, and you can make him work. And now the guy who was not sure if they should draft Jackson Dart still has a job, whereas the guy who was like, I want him, give him to me now, is going home for Christmas. I have my thoughts, but I'll ask our resident New Yorker yours first.
Well, I asked the office quite a bit this week. It's a Jets-Giants office, but want to get the Giants diehard takes. We have to forget Mara. Obviously, he's not healthy. Knock on wood. We hope he's all right. But there's a world where his connection with Joe Schoen is so rock solid that there's a reason past just football that he kept him. So all that aside, it's a little odd to not clean house, as frustrating as it's been. But honestly, Martin, we saw the footage in 4K. Jackson Dart was drafted because of Brian Daboll, not because of Joe Schoen, who whiffed with his own son telling him, throwing a football mid-conversation, hey, please draft Jaden Daniels. It's really tough when you back these dudes at GM spots when they're right a few times, because like no one's done any math on, a baseball batting average-esque idea of how many guys hit and miss. I mean, we know a few guys are rock solid at their job in the league, but long story boring there, it's like, dude, all right, because he got Neighbors and Andrew Thomas years ago and a Scatterboot, like we keep them. I just hope they're going to be in lockstep, because really off of Ian's thoughts and our whole conversation about Cleveland, to throw it back to you, if you're not in alignment from owner to GM to coach, you're cooked. But they do have a quarterback, so now I hope it's about going through the process and taking your time, because it's the middle of the season, of getting this spot right. But it could have been more than football why they didn't let go of both dudes.
I was actually not surprised they didn't let go of Joe Schoen, because to me, you should have fired Joe Schoen 17 games ago. Like, the moment that Saquon Barkley became a Philadelphia Eagle, Joe Schoen's got to go. And not simply because you didn't retain Saquon Barkley. Let me be clear. I do not think that the New York Giants, however many games they won last year, 3, 4, 5, whatever, would have won more than 4, 5, 6 with Saquon Barkley. Right? I don't think that Saquon Barkley rushes for 2,000 yards in New York. I think he does it in Philadelphia. But for Joe Schoen to be so wrong, to say that Saquon, number one, was not going in division, for Joe Schoen to say that Saquon wasn't getting that guaranteed money, right? You know what I'm saying? For Joe Schoen to think that Saquon was calling him back, like, that's why you got to go, because you're out of touch. Like, you just didn't know what was happening. Now, with all that being said, so I would have been let go of Joe Schoen, right? They could not let Brian Daboll coach that boy one more game.
It was getting dangerous real fast, man.
Brian Daboll was coaching. He was right. He was right. This is the guy we need to get. But Brian Daboll wasn't necessarily treating Jackson Dart like a long-term investment. Mm-mm. He was treating Jackson Dart like, I got to win games every single week.
Yeah, like it's an SEC Saturday, bud.
Like it's
I mean,
SEC
what are we
Saturday.
doing?
4 concussion evaluations in 7 starts, and you keep running him. I got to work on Monday, and I said, did Jackson Dart used to run like this in college? The answer was no. They running him like Cam Newton. That's why Brian Daboll had to go.
Absolutely. And you lose, 4 road games when you're up double digits? It's really upsetting, because it's like this organization has won in the 90s with Sims. They've won with Eli. They got Super Bowls, plural. And it's just such a frustrating city when the Giants are bad. No offense to the Jets, but it's just different. And it's like, you can make a case right now. The Jets at least made a decision by letting go of their assets on defense. Like, I was telling Ian too, it's like anyone can go if Quinn and Sauce can go. So it gave them an uptick. But I think in the Giants locker room, it's at least a message being sent. But my goodness, man, they have to get the right coach. And again, it's just fascinating that dudes are right there like Mike Vrabel, unemployed, and you can't go get someone like him. They have to. It has been, to put a button on it, in no particular order, Pat Shurmur, Ben McAdoo, Joe Judge. I mean, I'm going to cry for Giants fans. I grew up in a Giants household, and they couldn't throw a Jackson Dart lob to find a coach if their life depended on it. Now, you have the quarterback. Let's just not go blow this again at the head coaching spot. But it was peculiar to not let them both go.
I would say this, as we get through the coaching, hiring, and firing cycles, as well as what we're seeing in college football right now, just if you could close your eyes and think back, the New York Giants situation got ugly because Ben McAdoo benched Eli Manning at halftime.
Wasn't that a Philly game, too?
Eli Manning at halftime for Geno Smith, I believe. And then Geno started the next game, broke Eli's streak, which, let me be clear, was the right move. He just didn't do it the right way.
No.
And the Giants have been paying for it ever since.
Wow, you talking about football curse over there? A little football god's curse?
No, you wanna
Okay,
talk about-
guys, I actually want to give credit to Dan Duggan from The Athletic because he wrote an article today with 20 intriguing names for the Giants head coaching jobs. You guys have already answered. I was going to ask you guys, why now? You guys have already sort of answered that. It's because Daboll's, going to get this kid killed at this point, so got to get him out of there. But the next question is who do you bring in to replace him? What are you looking for in his replacement, and who exactly should that be? So a few names here to throw at you guys. The offensive coordinator, who has now been promoted to interim coach, Mike Kafka. He was known for his time developing Patrick Mahomes. He's been with the Giants now for a little bit. And he's, probably done some pretty good work there with Jackson Dart's development. I'm sure he's been very involved there. Bill Belichick is a name. Obviously, a year ago it would have been more intriguing than it is now. We know it comes with some baggage, but got Kafka, Belichick. John Gruden's name has been thrown out there a little bit. I know he's talked about wanting to get back into coaching, whether that be at the college level or NFL. I don't know if he'd be able to get another shot at the NFL level, but he's an option. Mike McCarthy is one of the favorites right now, former Dallas and Packers coach.
That's the first one that you said to me that I've been interested in.
So other ones just don't even speak to you at all?
No, I mean, Kafka, we'll see what he does. He has a 6-game audition to see what he does. Bill Belichick's already got one relationship with the 20-something. I don't want him exposed to my quarterback too. Yeah, John Gruden.
Can I throw one out and see if it made this list?
Please do.
Let's take a step back. We think it's so awesome when Burrow and Chase, who played together in college, are playing on the Bengals together. Who is cooking? I already know Martin knows where I'm going with this. Who is cooking at the college head coach level, has a hot name right now, and is humming in the SEC, who, oh, by the way, coached this kid just 365 days ago. Is there a world where Lane Kiffin comes back to the NFL, gentlemen? Very un-Giants-like hire. But as far as fun conversation for the Martin and Monaco show, I got to throw out Lane Kiffin, man.
His name is on the list here in the wild card section. There were a few wild card names, and he included Lane Kiffin because of the Dart connection there. And also Marcus Freeman from Notre Dame and Nick Saban. Those were two other wild card names that he threw out there.
I just found out Nick Saban's 5'7", so I got a few sleeps to think about Saban again as a head coach in the NFL.
Really? You didn't know Saban was a short guy?
5'7"?
Oh yeah,
that's 2 inches from a jockey. I digress.
Hey, that's the greatest college football coach of all time, you're saying.
I know,
Jockey's
man.
2 inches from him. But first of all, Saban, no chance would I want Nick Saban to come and be my pro head coach at 70-something years old. We have at least – how many examples do you need in the last 18 months of that being a disaster? If I'm Lane Kiffin, though, it depends on how I'm feeling. If I want to take on like a new professional challenge, then I would really consider this. But I think that if I'm Lane Kiffin, I might be able to parlay what has been happening around college football to become the highest paid coach in college football to be in Oxford, Mississippi. The cost of living for a salary, first of all, to be the highest paid state employee in the state of Mississippi. And maybe things change with the higher salary, right, if he does get that highest paid. But, like, Ole Miss understands we're good losing 3 games a year.
Yeah, it doesn't help that Brian Kelly's completely blew everything in LSU and that job's available because this could just be leverage for
That's
Kiffin.
What I'm saying. If I'm Lane Kiffin, I'm not going anywhere. Have you seen Lane Kiffin's Instagram? That guy's having the time of his life in Oxford. He's going to hot yoga. He's doing the most.
He's having a ball.
He doesn't want to go to the like. Do you see the way that Aaron Glenn talks to the media in New York, and they think the way that Lane Kiffin does his press conferences a little different.
It's tough too because if you think about again, this is a traditional organization. They're not going to. I don't think. But what would be interesting? It's a little exhausting. Go right back to Buffalo Bills land and swoop another OC. But Joe Brady's been next man up for quite some time. I mean, I'm sure he's on the list. I mean, I'd imagine they're going to go with a McCarthy-ish guy. But
I think that Mike McCarthy got a bad knock in Dallas. And Dallas coaches, generally, when they get fired from Dallas, they don't go anywhere else but the TV. But I think that Mike McCarthy was a hell of very much like Mike Tomlin, like a hell of a football coach to a B-plus level. Like, I will win 67% of the games I coach every single year. Right now, some years I have a better team, some years I have a worse team. I'm never going to go undefeated. I'm never going to go 15-2. But I will win. I will get you 12 wins a year, every year. We will be in the playoffs. And I think that's what the Giants need, and then have a guy to come over the top of that.
That's fair. I mean, they do just need kind of stability. So it makes sense if you want to win 10 games.
Speaking of stability, there's no more in Travis Hunter's knee, and it also makes me concerned about the stability in general of the quicksand foundation that is Jacksonville Jaguars. First of all, how many times can Liam Cohen find different ways to slam his headset on the ground upset and fling his play sheet after Travis Lawrence? Like, it was over the minute he said throw it to his chest. And it was also over the minute they traded up to draft Travis Hunter and said in the post-draft press conference, this guy is going to revolutionize football by doing they just are not crawling before walking, and now Travis Hunter is going to be rehabbing for the rest of this year.
Well, we don't want to obviously, he's hurt. We wish him a full recovery. But I got to bring up, because you said it on the Fox Sports Saturday, August evening on the Martin and Monaco show, this is not going to work. But let's forget the injury for a moment. This wasn't working the first 6 weeks, 8 weeks of the season. It wasn't working. I think we were sitting here trying to figure out even, is it clear if he should play on one side? I think Richard Sherman had a couple of interesting tweets that maybe made some sense as far as it's a lot easier to get in a rhythm, right, on defense, or a lot harder to get into a rhythm on defense, whereas offense you can pop in, pop out on certain packages. Defense, you can just zip in, right? So it's I don't even know that you had the right man, to your point of Liam, getting this right timing-wise, but had to just shout it out. Obviously, we want him to be healthy and not have it not work in this regard. But you were all over this, man.
But you saw him miss several games at Colorado. He missed several games in his 2 years at Colorado. I'm not sure of his injury history at Jackson State. But, I'm no mathematician nor physiologist, but you're playing double the amount of football that everybody else is. Stands to reason it's going to be hard for you to stay healthy as much as everybody else is, which is no one else is really doing a great job at. Everybody gets hurt. But my thing is, they spent so much draft capital on a player who is not impacting them at all that what they there's a organizational cost to that you have to eat. Kyle Shanahan is the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers today because Brock Purdy was a successful quarterback for him. If that guy didn't work after trading up for Trey Lance and Trey Lance failing, if the next guy doesn't work, your job's on the line. Just ask Kevin O'Connell, who now is looking around this looks ugly, or Matt LaFleur, who's being asked about his job security when he's 2 games under 500, right? That's how this thing goes.
Yeah.
Jacksonville may have dug their own grave before they ever played a game.
It's just such a Jacksonville move. I mean, just so Jackson. It's just fascinating that certain teams just build correct infrastructure, build inside out, or go with cornerstone pieces and not the flat. I mean, he's a flashy piece. But while we have another minute here, I got to ask you, was his size why you were on to why he wasn't going to work? Because he is a smaller dude. But
I think he's just slight. He's just a slighter player. If you were telling me that a guy in AJ Brown's body type was trying to do this, I would have a more realistic mindset about being able to do it. But Travis Hunter seemed to be the type of guy that I don't want him catching the ball. I don't want him getting tackled 10 times in a game. Right? So even if I'm doing bubble screens and so on, I'll get out of bounds, bro. Get down. And you're telling me he's supposed to be tackling folk?
I know. That's not good on when that's your two-way player. Yeah, this was something you were all over, man. Got to be honest. You were nailing a few things over the summer.
I had an inkling about this team before the Micah Parsons trade, and then everything got blown out of the water. I was not high on the Green Bay Packers coming into the regular season. Matt LaFleur has been a guy who, to me, is, again, a very above-average coach, but far from great. I think there's a big gap when you're looking at the guys who are great and the guys who are, like, really good at a few things. I think Matt LaFleur is really good at a few things, but, like, never had a kicker. So, you know, sometimes his defense was iffy until he hired Jeff Hafley as his defensive coordinator. It's just, like, the quintessential Matt LaFleur issue I've had with him, you saw it in the third quarter when it's 2nd and 2 and his defense is on the field and he's in the back writing on the tablet. Like, your job is the whole team, bud, right? And then they trade for Micah Parsons, which, you know, everybody kind of has to recalibrate. After the Micah Parsons trade, I still thought that this team in roster was maybe 3rd in the division, and with me thinking Minnesota was 2nd, now I'm thinking after this period of time, they've fallen from neck and neck with the Lions to, like, am I looking at the Packers on the Bears level, or am I looking at the Packers on the Lions level? Because those are two very different levels. And when you trade for Micah Parsons, you better be on the Lions level.
Well, let me ask you, because first of all, we were going to put a boys parlay together that I forgot to put in. But it didn't flip too much. But you were on the Lions at plus money, and the Pack, you know, they were like, what, plus 130? They went from plus 130 to minus 130. But yeah, I mean, the Packers are plus 180 now to win the division. Let me ask you, though, because I was all over Philly in that game. That's 2 weeks to prep for a team that lost. You don't want to say Tucker Kraft was their best piece, but, like, taking a step back, no Kraft, no Golden. Dobbs is out mid-game. It's like he lost assets.
I don't think that's an insult to say Tucker Kraft is their best piece. He's their most versatile offensive weapon.
Jordan Love's just a weird. There's like, I can't figure Green Bay out because are they a team that plays down to their There's like a couple teams in the NFL that play down to their competition, or they just play. They don't dictate the game and the game plan they want to carry out. They just play to what they're going against. Like, that's what Monday night looked like.
You just said it. They don't dictate the game plan. Cam Scadaboo's wondering about how you're supposed to dictate a taco. What I'm saying is that, like, you got to understand, like, this is the thing that bugs me about the Packers. Go back and pay attention to their games. How many times on 3rd and 2 or 4th and 2 do they convert for like 4 yards? It's almost never. It's amazing. They cannot go get 3 yards when they need to. And to me, you are not a great offense unless you can go get 3 yards when we need you to. That and Jordan Love, to me, is very inconsistent. Like, I get why people fall in love with him, but the way that some of his footwork, the way the ball comes out sometimes, and some of his decision making, he can be real sometimey. And between that and not being able to go and move grown men against their will in the trenches for 3 yards at a time, that's why this team has everybody confounded, because that doesn't exactly show up in, like, your EPA per play and all of that.
Yeah, I mean, what's frustrating is I remember this dude went for 20 straight completions on national television, and I was on Pittsburgh. So it's like this team, thankfully, and I think there's like a road number where he's winless if they don't get at least 20 points. But, like, this is a team, I feel, that thankfully it's not all on Jordan Love like so many Packers years where it was all on Aaron Rodgers. But I just don't know which version of the Packers is them. Everyone's allowed to look bad once or twice in the regular season. I'm not going to bail on them, but, you know.
You're not losing as double-digit favorites, or at least I forget if they were what the favorite was against Carolina, but you're not losing as more. Yeah, double-digit favorites twice in a year, and I'm considering you a real contender.
All right, to close things out here, guys, just want to get your thoughts on Joe Burrow. So he's returned to practice now, officially, which is, I don't even know how to view these NFL injuries anymore. What coaches tell us, what medical experts tell us, none of it's even to be taken seriously anymore. Because I remember his timetable was like early to mid-December at the absolute earliest, and now he's returned to practice. Could be back by Thanksgiving. But want to get your guys' thoughts here. Bengals are still minus 2,000 to miss the playoffs, plus 920 to make the playoffs, and still plus 1,100 to win their division. So, pretty good odds there, but it feels like they're still alive now that Burrow's back. He said it himself, their division's up in the air. Flacco's kind of held down the fort, but how much of a difference do you think Burrow makes for the Bengals? Do you think they're still capable of winning this division, or are they just not on the same level as the Ravens or Steelers? What do you think?
I mean, I think it's curtains for the Bengals this year. This is a three-phase sport. They have the softest defense known to mankind. They're the worst run D in the NFL. It's just, again, a team built like a Madden roster. I mean, look at what the Dolphins did. You pay two wide receivers at the same time. Waddle and Hill, how's that working? And your quarterback, top dollar. They did the exact same thing in Cincinnati. You give Hendrickson a raise. Anyways, not to get into that. You got at Pittsburgh, hosting New England, at Baltimore, at Buffalo, hosting the Ravens. It's over, Martin. What's fascinating is Burrow's up here acting like this is going to go somewhere. Dude, the team is terrible. Zach Taylor is not a winning coach. He's a decorated offensive coordinator getting to lead this team. They're never a buttoned-up team. They're never doing all of it right at the same time. But it's a combination of he's not playing this week, and it's too little too late, man. You're 3-6.
Yeah, it's way too little too late. And honestly, Joe Burrow might have played 17 this year, and they probably still would have missed the playoffs. Like you said, it's all three phases. And Cincinnati is a good kicker, but that's about it. In terms of all three phases, right? They got a lot of offense, but even their offense, we talked about it when Burrow got hurt. Their offense is not diverse. It's shotgun. It's drop back. When's the last time you remember Joe Burrow under center for a highlight? It doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying? And so, like that, I think that is a big part of the reason why he did end up getting hurt. So, this Bengals team is done in terms of the playoffs. What they are not done, though, they're not done winning games. They are going to ruin they're going to ruin a Baltimore, a Pittsburgh. Ran off a Buffalo, because Buffalo, especially now, there is real trouble for Baltimore or Buffalo to miss the playoffs. Real trouble for actually the three of them. Kansas City. I'm calling my shot. Cincinnati is going to be the one to knock whoever's out.
Yeah, they're going to turn into the Arizona Cardinals. They're going to ruin everyone's parlays, and they're going down, and everyone's going down with them. We ain't having fun at this party. Nobody's having fun at this party.
Dude, it's going to be so nasty when the Steelers win. Nasty. The Steelers are going to win 10 games and win the division some kind of way because of the way all these losses turn out. Like, they're going to finish on like 10, 6-1 or some crazy something like that and win the division. It's going to be nasty.
So funny.
Dude, the Steelers, I feel like the Steelers better win the division at this point. Like if they blow this and a team like the Bengals or the Ravens ends up winning, when they virtually had that thing locked away by like week 4 or whatever it was, week 3, when did Lamar go down? When Lamar went down with injury and then it was him and Burrow out for the indefinite future, that was Pittsburgh's division to lose. If they somehow manage to screw this up and don't win the division, this might be what gets Mike Tomlin fired.
So that you may be
Ravens minus 230 real quick.
To win the AFC North?
And Steelers are plus 250.
There's no to your point, Ian. I said it last week. The Steelers have to win this division. The point I was just trying to make, they're going to back into it because Cincinnati's going to do their dirty work.